Okay, Almost Punk podcast. It's April. I don't think we do the date.
No.
It's our April podcast.
It's
Our
one
first
of
April podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
It is the first podcast of April for Almost Punk.
That is right.
Okay.
Yeah, and who knows when this will be up. I feel like the first time you do anything, it just takes longer, so we're in that process. So maybe by the time this episode is up, we have like 16 episodes. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
we tried
3.
to post the last one, and that didn't work out so well, so I don't know.
Yep, we got rejected, but we were not given a reason as to why. Anyways, it is April-ish 2020. Yep. And we are all now in staying at home mode. Yes. And we also spent some time trying to figure out how to do this remotely. So we are doing this remotely and we are home. How long have you not been out for?
I actually went to work on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So I have been out and about. That was the first time, I think, in 2 weeks that I had went. So I guess in the past month, I've been to work 4 times.
Oh, okay.
How about you?
I have not been anywhere for 4 weeks today. Yeah, it's going to be really weird to go back to normal because, you know, I take public transit to go to work. It's going to be so weird to be crowded by people and trying to remember how to do anything. Yeah, I mean, I've been outside. I haven't just been indoors. I've been outside. I go outside every day, but cool. I haven't been anywhere, like a store. I am actually going to try to go this weekend because my dog needs a nail service. So
it's like you got to pick your, spots. You only get one shot, basically. Yeah,
for me, I wouldn't go to, not that anything for humans is open, but it does interfere with her ability to walk a little bit. She's a little slippery, so I think it's time.
Well, speaking of being able to go anywhere, you have tracked down some ways to find bands without going anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm so busy every day with the amount of live streams that are going on right now that people are just sitting in their living room. They are bored, just like all of us. They're grabbing their guitar, they're playing songs. And they're always during work. I'm still working from home, and it's annoying because I want to watch all this stuff, but I have to like work and do meetings. And so I try to sometimes while I eat lunch or something to watch a live stream or 2 or so Chris too from Anti-Flag has been doing so many. I feel like he's doing one every day. I've lost count now. He was doing one today, but I had to go to a meeting again.
Okay, so that brings up my first question here. I went to go look at what's going on with the Anti-Flag live stream, and they have links to Instagram Live and Facebook Live. I have accounts to neither of them. So is it free?
It is free, but you need accounts, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. Oh, and then I actually watched a show that you needed a ticket for the other day. On Tuesday. On Tuesday, I watched Fea doing a cover of Bikini Kill songs in Spanish. And you had to register for this platform where you had to buy a virtual ticket. I think it was $5 though.
So you do have to pay for some of these things. That's
so I think they're trying to figure out ways to monetize it. And of course, depending on the band size, there's really big artists that are doing stuff from home that are millionaires, and there's ones that are trying to pay rent just like everyone else.
Yeah, I was just wondering what's it going to turn out in the future. I would prefer if it's like a subscription. You pay the $5, you get all their live casts if they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's just going to be a one time, one fee, so every time you do something, if they charge, you have to pay for it every time. I guess just like a regular ticket to anything.
Yeah. And some of them, some artists already have a lot of recordings. I was trying to see what are all the different music streaming options available right now. And I saw Metallica streaming a bunch of their older concerts on YouTube. So they're from the 80s.
I
Or I
heard they're
don't
going
know,
to do
maybe
some
newer ones
sort
as
of
well.
online club where you, like I was talking about, you get a membership and whatever they're doing, you sign in and you go do it. You watch it, you listen to it, whatever. So I thought,
Yeah.
as a fan, that was a cool thing. I like that idea more than I like, having to pay $10 to see a virtual concert where I don't know what kind of audio quality I'm going to be getting, what kind of mix I'm getting.
Yeah.
What is there, like an interactive audience portion to it?
For the
You don't
FEA
really
show,
know.
they did Q&A. A lot of them you can type questions, but they're getting questions so quick. There's no moderator or anyone trying to select the questions. So half of them are like, hello from Brazil, hello from Russia, hello from Germany. And, they don't have questions. So there's a lot of that going on, or people being like, you're awesome, I mean, it's kind of like the drunk people yelling at the band back in the day when we had shows.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that. Everyone's just talking at once. I mean, I'm excited that there's options because I do miss music. That's one of the things I miss.
Today,
the hardest things for me.
You froze up a little bit on me, so I didn't quite get all that. But yeah, today was the first day that I listened to music in 2 weeks. It was nice.
Yeah.
I've just been doing the TV thing. You sit on the couch, you watch TV. So it was nice to know that music is still out there in some form or another.
Yeah, it was really cool. I've seen a couple of bands, and I've seen Dropkick Murphys did Patrick's Day, and they live streamed it, and it was really good quality, actually. It was production and everything. They did a really long set. I feel like they played
Whoops. I think the internet here is cutting out,
but
so that's not
it doesn't. Okay, we can break and then
hold on, let's see.
Where you are.
Go.
We can always turn off the video if that helps.
I wonder if it will. Let's see.
Yeah, because maybe
all right.
Will help.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. But now we have to not interrupt each other without seeing. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, you were saying I only started talking because I couldn't hear you anymore.
Yeah. I was saying that some of these shows have actually pretty good production, or for what I would expect for things that have been thrown together last minute out of the situation going on. They weren't planned. These bands weren't planning on doing these type of shows, of course. They just pivoted from doing regular shows. So I'm pretty impressed with the stuff I'm seeing so far, but I'm almost like, I don't necessarily want you to be good at this because I don't want you to do this instead of touring, which I don't think they will, because they'll never make, enough money to be able to just do virtual shows, I think.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was going to become like 3 months from now, I was hoping. At most, it would just be another opportunity as people get used to doing these kind of Zoom meetings and all these weird types of streams and stuff. Maybe people would get used to paying a small amount for it, and then bands would recognize that, hey, there's a small group of people that like this kind of thing. We can make a couple bucks by doing these things weekly or monthly, and if they can get a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people, that's $5,000 of extra revenue coming in that they wouldn't normally get, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you thought the quality was good enough, would you be willing to pay for some of your favorite bands to do that kind of thing now that you've been seeking it out?
That's a good question. Maybe if it was very cheap, I think. Not because it's just like I'd rather spend the money on concert tickets, and that's where a lot of my free or a lot of my extra money goes to already. So I think I like going to shows with my friends. I like the atmosphere. I like being able to, you get the interaction with the band, and they feed off your energy, you feed off their energy, and so on. You don't get that with virtual stuff. I think it's the same as hanging out with your friends online right now, right? Like, it's still fun to watch stuff together or play board games or play video games or whatever, but it's not the same as hanging out together and like eating junk food together and talking. And
yeah, I was wondering if
not
the format would change, because it's not going to be cool if the band just plays an hour of music over your headphones live, because music in person with the real giant speakers and the full loudness effect and all that, that's a big part of going to a show. So I don't really like that, just sitting in front of my computer listening to stuff. But then on the other hand, it does allow the opportunity of more interactive Q&A type thing. Like the band could play a song and then take questions, or like, so every time they did one of these things, it would be more unique than just them playing songs, turning it off, and then coming on next week and then doing the same thing.
That's exactly what I was thinking too, as you were talking. I think it would be cooler to do more of like Q&As, or yeah. So basically what we're talking about is fan clubs. That's what a lot
Yeah.
of fan clubs existed for, is you get to have, access to either meet the band or be in a special message board, or, get special gets and things like that. And I'm sure people are going to be doing that more right now, after we're free again. I think people, a lot of bands missed out on a lot of revenue, so they have to come up with new ways to pay the bills and fund their tours and fund their recordings and things like that. So I'm expecting to see some of that.
Yeah, I think it's the early days. So now it'll be, we'll start you off free. We'll do this and see if we can get any people to even show up in the first place. Then you get some people to show up, and then you might start introducing, hey, now we're going to charge $5. Now we're going to charge $10, and they're just going to keep pushing it up until people stop paying. I don't know what that price point's going to be, but I think we're in the early days of that's probably coming.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what Patreon already does, is people on there have special podcast episodes or special songs, or, special message boards for people that are basically in their fan club or in their support group or whatever you want to call it, their patrons.
And I think for established bands like Anti-Flag, they have thousands of fans. That'll probably work to them to some degree. I mean, if they wanted it to. But for new bands, probably not so much.
True. You definitely have to have a fan base of people who care enough about what you do.
Yeah.
When you're a smaller band, you're just trying to get people to listen to you, and at all costs to yourself, not the other way around. Yeah.
But did you see any that you recommend people check out?
I guess the Anti-Flag ones have been some of my favorite. There's just a lot of them, but that's good, because if you don't catch one, there's always another one. Even my dog watched one of them. So if that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is.
Pixie enjoyed it, Anti-Flag, is that correct?
Yeah, she was just sitting there and like looking at the phone. And he does also have a dog. So Chris too has a dog. So maybe she could sense that there's another dog present somewhere.
I mean, they have a new album that just came out, and they were going to go on tour, and then they had to cancel at least the first 2 months of their tour. So
yeah, I believe
what
they
a
were
terrible
already.
time.
Yeah, I think they were already on tour and they had to come back.
The timing is just
and so
ugh.
Yeah, I mean the timing sucs for everything.
Yeah,
there's like so many things.
It's never a good time for a worldwide pandemic, I suppose.
I guess you're right. I think that's what it is. Yeah, they were supposed to be on tour all through March, so they were already on tour. I think they mentioned in one of the ones I watched, because I have watched several, it was they were in Canada and they had to go home or something like that.
Yeah,
but yes, you're right.
I was on Spotify. That's where I went today, because you sent me the link to check out the new NoFX stuff. So that's why my other thing that we're getting. So it wasn't the live stream. It's okay. Bands have music that they would like to release soon, like NoFX, and now everyone's sitting at home. And so Fat Mike released a little video about, hey, everyone's just sitting around, nothing to do. Maybe now's a good time to just release some early tracks, start building a buzz from people just sitting at home. And for me, I mean, I checked it out and I liked it.
Awesome. And I think it's interesting because every entertainer right now, or not every, but a lot of them are feeling the sort of the pressure to entertain the public because everybody's just like complaining about how they're bored and sitting at home. And so a lot of them are releasing stuff, which is really cool, like NoFX. And yeah, a lot of them do have a back catalog that they can work on. But then there's also releases that were scheduled to be released around this time. So one of them, we're going to talk about the Drakulas have a new album.
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, I listened to it. I liked it. It's definitely new wavy.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like the Briefs.
So it's Drakulas. The album is Terminal Amusements. That's what we're talking about right now. I just listened to it as well. I'll let you continue on. I was just throwing that out there. So
yeah, and I saw them. That was one of the last shows I saw before everything was shut down. They put on a really cool show.
And you got the early vinyl.
I did, but then I couldn't play it because I was quarantined without a record player, but I had a vinyl.
And so
it was unreleased, and I had it a month early, and it did me no good. I had to wait for Spotify to have it, the stream last week.
So Drakulas has the lead singer of Riverboat Gamblers and the guitar player from Rise Against. I mean, there's two other guys in the band. I just don't happen to remember them off the top of my head, but it's like a super group.
Yeah.
And definitely I would say that if you were looking for any sort of Rise Against element to be in this, I'd say no, not there.
Correct.
But however, Riverboat Gamblers, it's the singer. It definitely still sounds like the singer of Riverboat Gamblers, just playing a slightly different style of music. The one that came to mind to me was Devo. I was like, this is like the punkier era of Devo, like the late 70s, early 80s Devo. And like you're talking about the new wave.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. And also it just popped into my head, speaking of super groups, the other kind of super group that's new wavy as well is Dream Car. It has like Davey Havoc and I think all the dudes from No Doubt. And they have a super group that as well, basically. So maybe they should all go tour together. Is
super group touring together. Well, now it'll be a virtual tour though, because no one can do anything.
Yeah, well, not right now. Well, that's also another thing I'm worried about with all these shows and kind of the state of music right now is all these concerts are being, and festivals and events are being pushed out to fall because it seems like it'll probably be okay by then, we hope. And so now my question is, what about all the stuff that was supposed to be happening in fall, all the fall tours, all the fall releases and events?
Yeah, so over where I'm at in Santa Clara County, there was an announcement that they don't think any sporting events are going to happen until after Thanksgiving. So let's say your typical sporting venue holds like 15,000 people minimum to like 50,000 people, depending on the sport. So just anything that was playing at a large venue, like a Shoreline, and in the Bay Area, Shoreline's like the big venue where the big bands go play. So we'd be talking that wouldn't be happening until after December at the earliest, if that's the case. So I guess the question then is, what kind of cap would they even have? Like a 5,000 capacity venue or a 2,500 capacity venue, 1,000? Like what kind of club is going to even be open? And the answer might be none. It might just be 100 people max in a building. So all shows from now on are going to be under 100 people, even when we go back to our regular lives.
That is crazy. And all I have to say about that is good thing I like a lot of smaller bands.
Yeah, because I do not see the big venues coming back until, if they're saying no sports until after Thanksgiving, then the same thing would apply to music. It's all large gatherings are not going to be happening.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I can't even begin wrapping my head around not having live music this year.
Do you think bigger bands would even bother to go on tour if they said, okay, you're allowed to go on tour, but you can only play venues that hold 200 people? Do you think bands that would normally play for 5,000 people or more would bother to go on tour for the 200?
I think so.
Okay. I think any band that can get 1,000 people would still play for 200 because I think it's still worth it economically for them. But like the big, like Kelly Clarkson is not going to go do that. Those type of bands.
Right.
But for Anti-Flag, no problem. They could go play 100 punk club. Yeah. They did it for 10 years, no problem. Any punk band would do it. The shows are better anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have a problem with it. It would suck to get tickets, and I would not mind paying more because I understand that they're not making enough money, and I understand I'm getting a more, unique experience. So I would be fine with it. I mean, you and I saw Bad Religion at Bottom of the Hill, and that was with like 200 people venue. And that was crazy.
Yeah, if all the awesome punk bands that we've seen that are now playing the giant places went back to playing clubs that only hold 100 or 200 people, that would probably get me out of the house all the time because that's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Like, you're going to go see NoFX in a small club. You're going to see Bad Religion at a small club. All these bands that I'm kind of like, I've seen them up too many times. I don't care. They're playing giant festivals. I can't even see them. I'm too far away. If you take away that element and there's just back to what I liked about them in the first place, then I would be totally stoked to go and do that over again.
I'm like, I mean, unfortunately, the venues are in a lot of trouble too. But I mean, imagine seeing AFI again at like a tiny venue. I would totally go to that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, before everything got canceled, I had tickets to see Bad Religion at Great American Music Hall, which holds like 2,000 people, something like
Probably
that.
Something like that, yeah.
San Francisco. Yeah, and so it's considered small for that band. And I was really excited because it would be cool to see them at such a small venue.
Yeah.
So I would be super into that. Like, I'm really excited thinking about that. No, it would really.
If that happened, I think that there's a chance that bands would tour locally, but there's no way they'd want to go on a full-scale tour in the crowded bus, all that kind of thing. I mean, I think that they could do a certain range. So as long as you live in an area where there's good bands that are somewhat near you, I think it could work out. Texas, California, like Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, like where there's a hub. You might have to travel yourself to go see them.
And then another thing they might do is doing several nights, like do 3 club nights in San Francisco.
Or that would be a better idea. Yeah.
And here's another idea. Early show, late show. That's what comedians do.
Oh, smart
So
move.
you have your I'm here to, solve all the problems of the music industry right now. So you have your early show at like 6 or something. And then you have your 10 o'clock show.
Oh, I'm totally down for that. They could implement that today.
Yeah.
I'll be there at the early show.
I kind of figured that much. But yeah, I imagine you could go to see all these shows at 6. Oh, that was another thing.
8 to 10 I was fine with. 7
that's
to
fine.
9. 7 to 9.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll do 7 to 9 and then a 10 to midnight. I'm happy with that. I would pay the same amount of money for that early show. I'm cool with that.
So the show, the Bad Religion show I was just talking about a minute ago, it was an early show, and I think it was at 5 p.m. on a Sunday. And all of my friends who don't live in San Francisco and we were going to all go together, they were so excited because, some of them have to wake up early for work, and it's hard to go see shows on a Sunday night. And they were like, oh, this is great. We can go catch the show and be home in time to get enough sleep. So we were so excited about that show that did not happen. And yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I'm getting so many refunds on my credit card for all these things I
Well,
bought
that's
tickets
nice.
for. Well, it is nice. That's true. That part is nice, but I
To get
don't
a
want.
refund.
I want the shows. I don't want them to be canceled. That's
Yeah,
my
that's the
problem.
bad part. And like, punk rock bowling was canceled. I'm sure we'll talk about all that on another time.
I mean, let's just talk about it now. So for me, the reality of how bad this pandemic, and I was aware of it for a while, but like it really, really hit for me when punk rock bowling was postponed, because it was still like 3 months away when it was postponed. And I just kind of thought, oh, by then it'll be fine and we'll be able to go to.
Yeah, I mean, well, you cut
Just
off there for
postpone it.
me.
They announced that it was. Oh, I was saying, and then it wasn't just postponed, it was entirely canceled for this year.
Yes, that was the big change, because you mentioned to me, oh, they're going to move it to fall. And I thought to myself, okay, that's understandable. I hope they get the bands, and I hope that,
Yeah.
because I had a 2-day ticket, not the full 3-day ticket. I was like, well, I don't know what even I'm going to get at this point, but I'll just take what I get. I'll live with it, And then, like you said, canceled the whole show. Now there's no bands. I am not seeing the Lunatics. It's not happening.
Yeah. So I guess here's some things, some reasons, right? Some of these bands are coming from Europe, and so they can't even get visas because they don't know when they need visas for. And also, the other thing I heard of is the problem that's happening is all these festivals are being pushed out. And so now you're competing for venues for really large festival and people who work them. Like there's people who work these festivals, who work security, who work facilities, who plan them, and so on. And they can't be at 2 festivals at once if they're, doing these things.
Yeah, that's a
So
drag.
that's kind of another reason.
I thought it was really cool that a lot of the bands that originally when they postponed the show from May to September or whenever it was, I think a lot of punk bands are pretty cool. They're just, if they can make it happen, they'll do it. That seems the way that's the mentality of the punks, But like you said, if you're competing against all these other factors at the exact same time, then even if the bands were willing to do it, they're not even given that opportunity anymore. It's not going to work out. And like you said, that's exactly what happened.
And the other thing is now it's competing with like more popular genres of music for the same venue. So like something like punk rock bowling is competing with like that, whatever, EDM festival in Vegas for the venue on the weekend. And I'm sure those are more popular.
Electric
or
Daisy
whatever,
Chain or whatever. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Like
probably something. Or Life is Beautiful.
Oh, there's that one. Okay. Well, shoot, I don't know what they're called, but yes.
I don't know. I'm not good at those. So then they're competing with all of these other things, and we punks don't win when you're competing with other genres. We don't get respect. There's no awards. You don't get Grammys for being an awesome punk band. People don't do it for that. So it makes sense, but it makes it really like this year is not looking great when everything's kind of canceled and all the tours. That's what was so funny is this year I was so excited about the amount of bands that were touring new music. I mean, Against Me is touring, Drakulas is touring, Bad Religion was touring with Alkaline Trio, like every band I like, and then a lot of them were playing punk rock bowling. Like there's so many good shows coming up, and now it's kind of like, oh, okay, we're in survival mode. It's about trying to survive. It's not about having entertainment or living well. We're not living well. We're just trying to survive. There's a difference.
That is correct. And then you sent me the link to check out the new NoFX. I did.
Yes.
I liked the song. It was good. The last thing I listened to is lyrics, so I don't know what the song's about right now. But what was it? I hate you more than I hate myself, or I love you more than I hate myself. I believe that's what it's called.
something like that.
Sounds good. It's good NoFX.
I love you
punk
more
song.
than I hate me.
Yes, the video was fine. It's like them killing themselves at a pool party.
Yeah.
So I liked that. The sound was good. Like it was an aggressive, well played song. Because he can't play it. So I'm like verbally describing it, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe.
But I mean, with NoFX is, yeah. And I mean, I think with NoFX, they've been around for a while. You kind of know what you're getting. You either like them or you don't like them. So if you like them, you'll like it. If you don't like them, you're probably bored sitting at home. Check it out anyway.
Well, yeah, when you're already a fan, though, of NoFX, they do these ebb and flows where they put out albums that, I don't know if it's just me, but even though they all sound the same, I still think some albums sound better than others. You know,
True.
so I like the War on Errorism album more than I like Wolf and Wolves Clothing or whatever. And then what's the one that came out? Coaster. You know, that was like, so it's like these. But I think I'm hopeful this album is going to be on the top end instead of the medium end. But I know it's not going to be on the low end, so no worries. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yes. I saw them. I last saw them at Warped Tour anniversary this summer, and they were late to their set, which is the most NoFX thing they could do. And so other bands started covering their songs on stage until NoFX made it there. They were escorted by like police cars to Shoreline, and I think they flew in on a private jet. From, I think they were coming from Canada or something. It was like the most ridiculous entrance ever. And then they didn't know what songs the bands have already covered. So they come out and they start playing the same like 5 songs we already heard other bands cover.
Yep.
So it was really funny, but it was really unique. I mean, I've seen them a ton of times, so it was kind of fun to see them in, to see them almost miss their whole set, which if you've seen any of their documentaries was not surprising. And I really enjoyed, I finally watched both the Backstage Passport 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. Well, now's the time. If you have not seen Backstage Passport, watch number 1 now. And then after you're done, watch number 2. It's quite a different experience, but they're both really good.
Yeah.
But definitely watch them 1 and then 2. If you watch number 2 before you watch number 1, then it's not going to work. That's not the way it's supposed to be. So that's
yeah.
Well, now you know, you had such a good thing to talk about with the new music, but you said you had a grudge, so now's the chance.
Oh, we're doing grudge of the week. So my grudge of the week is junk mail. I never like it. Nobody likes junk mail, but now I got my mail today and it was all junk, and I was like, I have to like wash my hands, sanitize everything, and it's already annoying, but it's like I have to do it over junk mail. Like I wouldn't have even got the mail if I knew, but you don't know what's in there until you look through it, and it was all flyers for stores that are probably closed anyways.
I thought the same thing. It's so funny that you mentioned it. I just thought, oh man, I have to stick my hand in this mailbox. I don't even know what's in there. And even if it was a magazine I wanted, you know, like Razor Cake, I was still, oh man, I'm going to touch this Razor Cake. I'm going to bring it into the bathroom because I like to read on the toilet. And then I'm not going to be able to read it. I'm going to just let it sit there for a week, wash my hands, and just keep looking at the cover but not touching it. And that's what I'm doing. But with junk mail, you're risking your life. You're not getting anything out of it. Agreed. That's my grudge then too.
Yeah, I mean, I got food delivered, and then it was like the amount of work you have to do to unwrap your food, and before you're ready to eat it, it kind of ruined all the excitement of getting delivery in the first place.
Oh, no kidding. I got packages coming in of stuff I want that I don't even know what's in it because I haven't even bothered to open it. I'm like, well, I'm just going to leave it there. I'll come back to it in 3 days.
Yeah.
As long as it's not perishable.
Right. Yeah, it makes it so, I kind of collect them too, so I don't have to sit there and treat it like I'm performing surgery in my living room.
At first I was doing that. I was all very cautious. I had the box cutter, and I was doing nice and very efficient slicing and carvings and very minimal touching. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm just not going to bother. Yeah. I'm not doing it. I'm just going to wait.
Yeah. My box cutter is now rusted because I've washed it so many times, because you have to wash it. I get a package sometimes a couple of times a day. And so I washed it a couple of times, and so now it's rusted. So now I'm like, great, I have to get the rust off, and I have to be a little more strategic about how I'm going to sanitize it. Maybe I'm not going to use water and soap anymore. So everything's becoming crazy. Yeah, if crazy. You are a neat freak, though, you probably have been ready for this. If you're really good at keeping things sanitized, I'm pretty good, but I'm not an obsessive level. But I think now all of us are at an obsessive level, so you have to be.
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't be forever. But
yes, and then the only other
right now,
we are where we are. And then I saw the story that the singer of Fountains of Wayne died from coronavirus. I think that's the only musician I know of that died so far, thankfully. Not thankfully that he died, but thankfully there's not more. Because people are staying home and taking precautions. But yeah, that's sucky.
No kidding. I mean, it's not like people are coming back from the dead, so it's only going to be more people. So hopefully,
yeah,
I don't know. We just gotta figure it out.
Brody from Distillers was sick for a bit, but I think she does it. She's fine now. So I was worried that she might have it, but I don't. It's also nobody can get tested, so nobody knows who has it and who doesn't.
Exactly.
So there's that. Well,
we ran the gamut. We did the funeral announcements.
Update. Yeah.
Did you have anything else?
I think I am all good. Just stay entertained, take advantage of listening to new music that's available, keep busy, wash your hands, and we'll be back whenever we can record another one of these.
All right. This is the Almost Punk Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.